We're going. We're live. We're here. It's prime time, Monday night, 9 p.m. East Coast time. We're joined by an illustrious crew of savages who just got back from the wilding jungles of South America. And this is Snakes and Stogies. My name is Phil Wolf, and as always, I'm joined by the beautiful Justin Smith, also known as Mitty, also known as the T-shirt fabricator. I have my new Fulvius Apparel Arachnerd shirt in tow. And as always, tonight's show is brought to you by blackboxcages.com. If you need a rack, if you need a cage, if you need some new enclosure, a new habitat, if you will, for your creepy crawlies, they got it all. Check them out, blackboxcages.com. Tonight is also brought to you by Fulvius Apparel. If you like scientific illustrations, if you like quirky advertisement spin-offs that caters to the reptilian marketplace, check out Fulvius Apparel.
Terrible puns.
Terrible, beautiful dad puns.
Jake hates it.
Splendida is still probably my favorite. Splendida.
I don't know. Did you see that? I put the Caucasian Kryptonite Chick-fil-A shirt up today. So.
Did you put it up today? Excellent. I love it. Check out Fulvius Apparel. And as well as cold-blooded caffeine, if you need some Java in your life, we have the Snakes and Stogies Mexican Rwandan blend, which, by the way, in case anyone is unfamiliar with current politics in Central Africa, Rwanda is having some export issues politically. So hopefully, if you haven't gotten our coffee yet, you probably should, because there might be a bean shortage. Who knows?
We don't.
We have no idea.
Did they burn down all the bean farms too?
No. It's political civil war-ish in terms of how do I phrase this? Export civil war. We won't allow you to export this. We will allow you to import that. So go on to Telegram and find your local Russian server and see what the truth is all about. There it is, the Caucasian Kryptonite. Polynesian sauce or Chick-fil-A sauce?
Ooh.
Ford and Chevy. Fight it out.
Honey mustard.
Just stay away from the DNA sauce.
Man, the group chat is on fire. We got the usual suspects as well as a couple people we haven't seen in a while. Jeff Frederick, Chris Sanchez, Dirty Sanchez, Claiborne, Dallas. Was that Black's new logo, Phobia Farms? Check them out. Check out that beautiful Phobia Farms Kentucky logo. And yeah. That was a very long-winded intro. My apologies to anyone who's still with us. Smitty, you want to introduce our beautifully handsome guests?
So starting to your
viewer counterclockwise, anti-clockwise.
I don't. Is it technically the left side of the screen?
I mean, yeah, it's stage.
No,
it's
the right
stage
side.
Right
side of the screen. Top corner
left.
is Justin Olson.
There he is.
What's up, guys?
That's his bathroom, by the way. It's 40 by 40.
40 for big blowouts.
Yeah, you know how we do.
Down in the bottom left-hand area there, sort of in the Salvador Dali camera angle, we have James Opdahl.
The hippopotamus.
James Opdahl.
The James Opdahl, the hippopotamus. Dali.
Yep. And then, once again, we are joined by Mr. Andy Middleton.
Fun time, Andy.
Bottom right there.
Campeon.
We need to get that on a shirt. Fun time, Andy. Just him with like a glazed over look, like. Oh, I love it.
Oh boy.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here, man. It's been a while.
What are we smoking, Phil?
Tonight, I dug deep into the back of the box, as they say. I'm going with an Undercrown 2020 Dogma box press Toro. That's how I like it.
Sun-grown too.
Yes, sir. I'm not a big sun-grown guy, but I like to play around every so often.
If we're being honest, I fucking hated that blend.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude, I tried it so many times. I was like, I want to like it. I can't.
Well, I got one in
the Dogma's a little different. It's a good Vitola.
I was gonna say I got a couple of these like end of 2022, beginning of 2023, and I was like, man, it's been like 2 years. I should probably smoke it. So here we are. And yourself, sir?
I was hanging out with my buddy Trey, who is the partner in crime on the Low Country Cigar Club, and he gave me this. Of course, it's not going to focus. It's Dapper Cigars. They have, I guess, some Bible study or something group, and so they made a cigar for it. It's called the Holy Smoke, and it's actually pretty damn good. So,
what about Andy? You gonna bust out one of those Cubans?
I thought about it, man. Just a little too chilly out, and I got to step outside for one of those. But I tried to make it work.
It's okay. You can smoke as long as it's real Cuban leaf. You can smoke it indoors. It's fine. It's the only one you're allowed.
Well, you should show them what you got, though, Andy.
Yeah, definitely.
After further consideration, that might be in the cards, but I'll jump up when I can.
So, Andy found himself a nice cigar shop in San Jose when we were on our trip, and apparently got some good stuff, huh?
Yeah, also was sending me pictures while you were down there.
I'm just remembering I took pics of all this at the shop, so it'd probably be easier.
Did? I haven't seen even what the shop looked like.
Was this like a market, outdoor market, like bazaar type place?
Legitimate.
Yeah, it's like a legit cigar club type thing, right?
Oh, very nice.
From the pictures, that's what it looked like.
This was La Casa de Habana. Pretty legit.
Looks like a black box.
But yeah, allegedly they sell Cuban cigars there. And
are you trying to put a picture up or something, Andy?
Oh, you sent it to
I just sent a pic to the chat.
Oh, gotcha. Let me pull that up.
Smitty's on it. Did I mean, we probably shouldn't talk about this on air, but did they give you grief coming through customs or no?
We didn't bring anything through customs.
No survivors.
Duly noted.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
Duly
but yeah,
noted.
I didn't get any special inspections
we don't break
or anything like that.
Any laws. That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
All my shoes came back intact.
Nice. Excellent. Man, look at those wrappers.
Yeah, pretty over
Ornate.
the top with the warnings and what have you, but yeah, it was interesting experience, something I've never experienced in the States, just having access and having the people guide you through what's on the shelf and whatnot. And I was pleasantly surprised with the sleepers, not the big name Cohiba stuff and whatnot. Some of the stuff I've never heard of before, never even seen in conversation, ended up being my favorites. So yeah, it was a cool experience for sure.
Well, it's weird because I think I was telling Olson this, like, outside of America, the market is completely flipped from what we have here. So like everywhere else, Cubans are almost the only thing you can get in most places. Like the Nicaraguan and Dominican stuff usually is harder to find outside of the US and other countries, where it's the opposite here. And the cigar market is so big in America that we sustain a lot of that market itself from the Nicaraguan and Dominican tobacco. So it's funny because it's just literally the polar opposite of what we experience here. Like you go into Europe and stuff, finding your My Fathers and other things like that are mainstays in pretty much every shop here is going to be harder to find. But there'll be, Monte Cristos, like Cuban Monte Cristos, Partagas and stuff like that, just there. Cuban stuff all the way. So
was there a locally grown leaf that they offered? Did you get to try any of that?
What was the stuff they had? I think it was mostly Nicaraguan stuff, but there wasn't any Costa Rican, sticks or whatever.
I've never seen tobacco growing down there anywhere.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is allotted for. Well, it's a different climate, I would think, but there's a lot of, a lot of pineapple, a lot of bananas, and a lot of coffee.
Tons of palm. And tons of palm.
Palm, yeah.
Yeah, everywhere.
That was huge, especially the further you went south.
Interesting.
What?
Is it oil palm or like actual trees for sale?
No, it's
palm
it's
oil.
oil palm.
Yeah.
palm oil.
Still fascinating.
Yeah, masses of it in certain areas. On the way to Osa, it goes for miles and miles and miles.
Wow.
Really?
On either side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I heard there were some beaches on the Osa that are only accessible through plantation. So, like, some guys will pay off the land management, and they'll get to herp like the beach of the palm plantations on the Osa.
Yeah, dude. Where we
100%.
Where we drive when we take the boat in from the mangroves from Sierpe through the mangroves out into the Pacific Ocean and skirt the shoreline out into Osa. That's like the most pristine beaches like I've ever seen. And
wow.
I mean, you're talking. I mean, there's that's not really tourists there. You go by Drake Bay and then it gets real quiet. And there's really not too many people around on the beach. And I mean, you can see jaguar. And I think when we were there, we had just missed a couple of puma walking on the right next to the beach.
Wow.
And the jungle rolls right up to it. And it's like the most beautiful place I've ever seen. And on that side, there's no palm oil. There's nothing out there because it's butted up right next to Corcovado.
Is this West Coast or East Coast?
Pacific side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But it felt like, James, on some of the boundaries around Corcovado, we saw some of it when we were out fishing and whatnot, you know? So, like, it encroaches right up to the...
Yeah, there's areas when we were going around where it's more habitated, but most of it in the, Corcovado takes up a great deal of it. So we can walk right into Corcovado from where we stay.
Nice.
But there's other areas of the interior that are not Corcovado where you go up into the hills a little bit higher and it gets a little steeper and it's like primary jungle. And that's where we found the Bushmasters and the Fairlance up there.
Yeah, so you said you've been going up there for a handful of years now, James?
At least 15 years, probably more than about 20 years, actually. I've been going down to Osa looking for black-headed Bushmasters for like 15 years. And it was funny because this time I was interested in looking for the Rauschenbergeri, the tree boas. And so we were going to do a whole day searching the mangrove areas in the river system, looking for these tree boas. And then my buddy Kirk said to me, he's like, hey man, he's like, consider us maybe looking for the Bushmasters, because we had it like an open option, like we would take a day and look for Bushmasters or for the tree boas. And then I was like, fuck it, I was like, you know what, if I could get Andy and Justin on Bushmasters the first fucking time they go down to Costa Rica, that would be epic. So we decided that that's what we would do. And
it's also your birthday.
Best fucking day ever.
That is a hell of a baptism by fire. I love it.
Yep. Fair to land.
You had to work for it.
Oh, I can imagine.
Definitely had to work for it.
The terrain is pretty hard going because it's steep, slippery, hot as balls, and really humid. But it's funny, man. Like people always ask me like the first thing, like, how are the insects? And like, honestly, I don't feel like the insects are even as bad as they are in many places here.
Yeah.
I don't think I got bit by a single mosquito this whole time I was there.
No, they weren't bad at all. I didn't have any issues. I didn't even put on bug spray for 90% of the trip.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I did once, and that was it. Because I think the only time like you get bit is when you're sitting at dinner out in the little cabina area, and like they're sitting under the table. So
yeah, the no-see-ums.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man. That's incredible. And honestly, when I don't know, I think it was Andy who put the first pictures of the Bushmaster in the chat, and it's up against what looks like a wall, and I was like, oh man, they went to a local sanctuary, they went to a zoo, and then the next picture is you boys standing next to the giant 50, 60
Yeah.
foot tree trunk
Big
with
ass
the
knees.
Bushmaster. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
what's funny is when I saw that, I was like, Phil is full of shit. Because when I was like, man, how a couple of weeks ago, months ago, maybe even years ago, I was talking about how like, man, how cool would it be to go to Costa Rica or like South America or something to see a Bushmaster curled up at like the nook of one of those giant trees, and you're like, they're never found there. People place them there for pictures.
So the funny thing is, man, the funny shit is that all my life I've seen pictures of like every tree that I see that's huge like that in the jungle is always so fucking far away, and I'm like, oh, I gotta drag my fucking ass over there and gotta look. And I've looked in every fucking one that I've seen. I've busted my ass to get to it, and it's not easy, man. When it's like this kind of a vertical, fucking drop on the like if when I walked around the other side of the tree, it was like a straight drop. So like that tree was like if you had to put a tape around it, easily 30 feet around.
Oh wow!
And on the other side, there was these other holes and shit going under the tree, other spots that looked awesome. But when I first saw that tree, actually Justin saw it first. There was a couple of them, and he's like, "How old do you think that fucking thing is?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm going over there." And everybody started walking like up.
We were at the peak.
Yeah, you guys were like going up, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go look at these trees." And I saw the first tree that Justin and I were discussing, and there was nothing around that one. And then I was like, "All right, I gotta go to the other one, which was even further." So I went to that one, and I literally like poked my head over the knee of that thing, and the fucker was right there, and it was huge, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And it was crazy, man, because like I was by myself and I just kind of like sat there for a second looking at it. And then I was like, I fucking found one, boys. And these guys were far away, and I hear all these hoots and hollers and shit. And I'm like, get over here. I found a fucking Bushmaster. And I guess the guy that
Jaime,
brought
I think you need to set the stage a little more on like how brutal of a hike that was and everything that led up to it, man.
It was, well, so when we first got in there, we were able to get a car up into the edge of where the dirt road stops, and there's a little farm there, like just a subsistence type farm, you know, people with chickens and pigs and shit like that. Always dogs hanging around. So we said hello to them, went up through where it was a trailhead, and started going into where it looked primary forest. And
do you know the elevation of the trailhead?
Andy, you have, I think, that information on the.
Yeah, I'd have to dig it up, Phil, but I don't remember.
There were a good amount of sightings in that vicinity, but I can't really say what it wasn't like we were Montane or anything. I mean, you're not that high up in Osa, so but when you go from sea level, it gets high and steep quickly, and then it kind of flattens off, and then you've got areas that go. It's like you have these cones almost. It looks like these little peaks within the jungle where you'll have a valley and then it'll come up again high and quick. And you have to go up and down. And it's all like leaf litter. So it's slippery as fuck. And you can't really grab onto stuff and because you don't want to.
Yeah.
So, and you have to be careful because there's shit everywhere. Like, you know, the Fairlance are I think Kirk walked right by that one from what you guys were telling me.
Yeah, he pretty much stepped right over it.
And, you know, it's a good size 5-foot Fairlance in the middle of fucking nowhere. So you don't want to get bit. And so we did a whole bunch of that, found the Fairlance, and then we continued on. And you're just Andy, you were sliding all over the place. I think you had sneakers on or something.
Yeah, my boots were not the optimal footwear for the trip, but
yeah, you slip and slide a lot, and so it was quite you know, you it's a workout to find anything there, and so we were doing that for like another hour, and then we got to the point where those trees were, and they kept continuing up, and I shot off to the side, and that's when I found that thing, man, and it was unbelievable. And it was once those guys heard me say it. I think Andy, you were with the guy that brought us in, and he didn't even believe. He's like,
he didn't believe it.
And then Andy's like, I can hear it in his fucking voice, man. He's on one right now.
And we booked it. Record timing getting down that hill. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I have video of you guys coming down the hill, actually, coming over, and you guys were still in disbelief until you saw it. And it was a good sized snake. It was every bit of 7 feet plus. I mean, it could have been bigger. I mean, I'll tell you what, its head was quite, not quite the size of my fist, but pretty significant.
Pretty close.
Size.
Very cool.
Yeah, and give some more props to the people that took us out. I think they're called the Blackhead Bushmaster Conservation Group or Bushmaster Conservation Group. I hope I'm getting that close. Unfortunately, I don't have the name in front of me, but this is privately owned land that they've pretty much devoted to these animals, and they spend day in, day out. They know that piece of land like the back of their hand, and
the cool thing is
a special spot.
They never found that one before. It was a new one.
There's like 7 or 8 individuals that they know pretty well, and they know them by their scalation, what have you, and just being there every day, and just knowing where the snakes hang out and whatnot.
Yeah.
And this is the first time they had ever seen this specific specimen that James tracked down on this tree.
I think they have 3 of them pit tagged, is what they said.
Yep.
I think they have a couple of them tagged, but this was a new one to them. And the funny thing is, they had no interest in going over with me to those trees. And I was like, God damn it, I always look at these trees and I never find anything.
But to think they've walked those hills, hundreds of times, and for whatever reason that tree caught James's eye that day, and it's just meant to be
him.
And it was James's birthday, might I add.
It was best day ever.
Super cool, man. Super cool. Adventure of a lifetime.
We're going back.
That we jumped right into it, but that was.
So now, was that on day one? Was that on the middle of the week?
Where did you start? Like,
let's start at the beginning.
Into how
we flew in. So we flew into San Jose, got to our hotel, partied hard the first night, hard. And I think was it the first day or the next day when you guys went to get cigars?
That was the next day.
First day. Next day.
I wasn't part of the cigar party, but did they serve drinks or bourbon and shit in there?
Sure do. They got a whole lounge, and
Nice.
It's a cool spot.
So San Jose is fun. We were there for like 2 days to get our bearings and get geared up for the trip, and then we usually have private vans that'll drive us down to Osa. So we'll take the van to Sierpe. We stop a couple times along the way. We eat lunch and checked out those crocs. How about those guys? And I don't remember that river.
I think they call it Crocodile River.
It has a real name. I just don't remember it. Some huge ass crocs in that river.
And that pic on the screens from Sierpe.
So we get a boat in Sierpe. We had some lunch, hopped on the boat, went through the mangroves out to Osa, where we stay with our buddies out there, right near Little Caño Island. So it's really neat. It's there's a place there called Poor Man's Paradise. I've been going down there for at least 15 years. And it's such a killer place, man, because right across from there is Little Caño. So that's a volcanic island that's about maybe 2 miles offshore, something like that. 2.5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a little more than that.
Maybe it's 3. But anyhow, it's such a prolific area for sea life because this volcanic island comes out of the ocean, and there's a whole reef system around it, and it's a national park. So you can only fish so close to it.
Mm-hmm.
But all these big game fish come in and hit this reef area on the outskirts of it. So you've got giant grouper, sea bass, mahi, wahoo, yellowfin, roosterfish. Andy freaking caught a sick looking roosterfish. We all caught some yellowfin. Humpback whales everywhere.
Sailfish,
sea turtles,
marlin.
Yeah, we saw marlin jumping, didn't we?
That was a sailfish, yeah.
Oh, that was a sailfish. We also saw a yellow-bellied sea snake.
Sure did. First day fishing, yep.
That was the first snake we saw, actually.
It sure was. It got us on the board.
Man, that's incredible. No photos of the sea snake?
Nah, Andy was
there and it was gone.
Andy was going for roosterfish at the time. That's right after that you caught a roosterfish.
Indeed.
But it bounced pretty quick.
Just came up for a gulp of air and went back down.
I think so. It was small.
It was actually swimming along the surface, but the way the boat was drifting in the direction it was heading, it was just you had 10 seconds to take a picture, and we were trying to figure out what it was for the first 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then once we came to a conclusion, it was too far gone for a photo.
Yeah, man, it's wild how many people in Central America see them not realizing that that's what they are, because it's such an animal that you wouldn't expect to be there,
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
On the Caribbean side, they have the pure yellow sea snakes, which are sick looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, these ones were super bright. It was a younger one, probably 2.5, 3 feet, but it was super colorful.
Excellent.
Yeah, saw a lot of sea turtles out there. We saw like a whole congregation of sea turtles. And then
that was right before we saw the humpbacks.
Yeah, the humpbacks were crazy, man. There were like 2 males like fighting over a female and breaching, and it was pretty incredible. We always see a lot of that's like a little estuary area where they congregate, and a lot of the time we'll see the humpbacks with their babies out there and stuff as well. But there's so much life there, man. It's just jamming.
Yeah, I got a lot of dart frog pictures from Olson that made me drool a little bit.
Yeah, we did find some really nice dart frogs this trip, and that same day is where we found the eyelash.
And we found those the day we found the Bushmaster.
That's
but
right.
we tended to find those closer to the streams. Like in the Bushmaster's case, it was the streams that kind of formed, the hills and valleys. It's pretty much a canyon. And then in the instance, the first day we went out during the day, properly looking in primary rainforest, we found, I think it was that exact animal pictured less than 10 feet from the stream, and probably 25, 30 yards from the eyelash.
Wow.
Right above our heads, right above head level, over the river.
Wild. It's so good to see this trip, and excuse me, obviously, you guys are not rookies to this at all, but you hear so many stories of people say, oh, you got to go to Costa Rica, go to Costa Rica. And then they go and they're like, yeah, they wouldn't let us off the trail, or the resort wouldn't let us herp the back end of the property, or, oh, we went the whole week and we only saw one little eyelash viper and that was it. And then you guys get a trip like this. So this is definitely what's the word I'm looking for? Reinstilling my faith in that area. So it's awesome, man.
Well, we've been going there for so long. Me and my buddy that works at the Seneca Park Zoo. That's who I went down there first with him, Tom Snyder. And, when we went down there the first time, we were staying at hostels and just going as cheap as possible. We never stayed anywhere where there was a resort. We'd ask, like, where can we find snakes? And we just go up into the jungle looking for things and finding stuff, just bushwhacking into the jungle. We started doing some work with the Bree indigenous down there years back. And we'd stay with the Bree Indians down there, and really awesome people. And we'd go back on their property with them, and they'd show us around, and we'd find some incredible animals there as well. Just really good, like, river systems are some of the best places to just go through at night and early morning and nighttime. And once, I mean, basically, like, if you're going daytime, like full daytime, like, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. If you're not going out at night, and if you're not getting up at the ass crack of dawn to get out into the jungle, you're missing a lot, because you get all the crepuscular animals that are in route from where they were to where they're going to spend the day, like hidden. And you see it, like, Andy, you found was it a slug eater or a cat-eyed
no, cat-eyed snake? Yeah.
Like, those things are like clockwork, man. Like, it gets dark and they start coming down, like coming down to where they're going to do their work for the night, for a couple hours. And it's funny, like, if you're like deep into the night, like late, you're not seeing as much going on as when it first gets dark or first gets light. Right. It's just, there's not as much action. So, I mean, we kind of found that snake late, Andy, the Bushmaster. It was probably around like 10 a.m.
No, I think it was later than that.
Yeah, it might have been 11 noon. But that thing was hunkered down for the day.
It was definitely hunkered down. But again, that's it. Like, people, when they usually encounter a lot of these animals, it's like crossing a road, or it's on the move somewhere during those hours where they are moving from point A to point B. They're, even with the green trees, man, like, lights go out, they move from their back perch to their front perch, and it's sit in their position waiting for food. Same scenario. That's when they're going to move somewhere.
Yeah. Since it was, you guys were there was it late January?
End of January. Last week of
mid to end of January.
So what's the weather like down there?
It was killer.
Cooler.
Awesome.
Is it cooler than normal? Is it still fairly?
It was a little cooler. It was like, what was the
mid-80s?
80s.
It varied where we were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
San Jose was cooler.
But
yeah.
I've been down there like October, and it's just pouring rain every day so hard that even the frogs aren't coming out. Like, that's how hard the rain is. And so we just caught the last end. They had hard rain down there and flooding for like 2 weeks before we got there.
Yeah.
And then when we got there, end of January, which I thought was perfect, you're coming out of the rainy season, and animals are starting to kind of like open up a little more, I think, and move around a bit as they were hunkered down. And like, I mean, it gets so hard, the rain.
Yeah, it's perfect timing.
But this was like just the beginning of the dry, and it was like sunny almost every day, no rain. It did rain a little bit that morning up in the mountains area, but not where we were down near the coast.
There's the cat-eyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, when was that? 3 a.m?
I think it was like 12:30.
Was that right around Portman? That was right where we were staying, right, Andy?
That was on the way back to our cabana, or whatever you want to call it.
From the bonfire.
Indeed.
That was
the first sign of life we saw, was a shed on a leaf.
Very cool.
Which was a strange place for it to be, by the way.
Do you think it fell there from like the canopy?
I do not have a good answer. I have no idea. Or it totally rolled over it and the plant popped back up, but
yeah.
I found a huge in Bree on the Caribbean side one time. I found like a 9 plus 10 foot full Crebo shed.
Wow.
And it was so wet, man. Like that thing just shed and bolted. Like you could smell it. And I looked all over for that fucker. But yeah, that thing was there like minutes before I got there.
Wild stuff, man. There's your fertilance.
Yes.
The fertilance was beautiful.
Yeah, what is it, Phil? Was that Atrox or is that Asper?
That's Atrox.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really pretty, man. I found some that have like a lot of like lavender purple on them.
Oh wow.
Really pretty one. That was closer to the coast though. This one was like up in the hills.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit lighter colored. We actually found that right outside the little bar where we stay.
Nice.
Little tiki bar.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, some French girl was like, "There's a snake on the trail. Should I just step over it?" We're like, "No."
Jeez, fucking landmine.
Yeah, I was going to say, not unless you want to be a pirate.
Yeah, bouncing Betty. Ugh.
We caught the thing. If we were a couple of more drinks in, it would have been problematic. But we caught it, and bagged it, and brought it up into the jungle the next morning.
Now, when you guys travel down there, do you guys bring snake hooks and tongs or no?
Yeah, I usually leave my stuff with them, so those guys have stuff. So I always leave stuff with those guys.
Nice.
Where we stay, so they have stuff. But I'll take down like a collapsible hook, which isn't ideal really, but it's easy to pack.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
And then I'll bring like a little hook, like a 16, 20-inch hook for
neonate hook.
Yeah, that I can use for like eyelash vipers and stuff and things like that, little corals. And but I had an idea, which I thought was a good idea, is those like paint rollers, like those cheap paint rollers where you can screw it onto like a handle of a broom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like they only have the small roller on them. I was thinking of taking one of those down and just buying a broom handle down there and having like a beast hook for something big, like a big ass bushmaster.
Yeah, I tell you, man, you wouldn't be the first guy to do that. A lot of people do that exact thing. They get the paint roller and or they just go to the hardware store the minute they get wherever they're going and they buy a paint roller and a broom handle and they just bend the paint roller into with their boot and just make a impromptu and put a little duct tape just in case and call it a day.
And I mean, having something like that honestly is really good for sometimes there's stuff up in the trees, man, where you just can't get to it.
Yeah.
Like if there's like an eyelash viper or something else up there. I've seen cat-eyed snakes and vine snakes and bird eaters and stuff way up where you just can't reach them. Especially like the spilotes and stuff, man. They are so fast. Like they are quick, man. They go through, like I saw one go through a big clump of bamboo, like a huge bamboo forest area, just gliding through that like it was water, man. They're so fluid when they're up in that stuff. There's like no way it's like a racer up in the trees, really.
And they saw Marcel from Friends.
So yeah, we're actually going to plan another trip for next year, hopefully around the same time. But I think we're going to do like 4 nights in Osa. And then we're going to take a private chartered plane back to Limon on the Caribbean side. And we're trying to get permits from the government to go into an area called Hitoy-Serere, which is on the Caribbean slope. And it's all primary forest with a river valley, quite large river valley going through the middle of it. And we found a ton of animals there last time. We haven't been back there in at least 12, 13 years, I think, maybe more. They closed it. So it's like a research station and it's closed to the public. So we have to apply for permits and we're going to do like a citizen scientist type thing where we can each write up like a paper and put it together and, do a little bio survey of the area.
Hell yeah. That's fantastic.
Good snakes there. Found a red-bellied racer there. a lot of different lizards. There's brown and green basilisks. We found a huge gollywasp, the beautiful, one of the most beautiful lizards I've ever seen. Caught one of those. I think I sent you guys a picture of it. I think we found like 3 different species of false corals there, and then multiple different types of eyelash viper, lots of dart frogs, different dart frogs, and in the river system there's just so many different fish and stuff. It's really cool area.
Very cool.
Anyone wondering, the 2 dart frogs we've shown so far are Uophega granulifera.
Mm-hmm. I think cool. I also gave you guys a picture of one of the, what is it, the Heratus?
Yeah, I saw that. We're coming up on that one here.
That one I think was from Hitoi Sorare. And then the gollywasp is in there as well somewhere.
And Olson, how's it feel to see stuff that you keep in the jungle, like in the flesh, in the wild? What's it like, man?
I don't know. It's pretty unreal. Especially seeing that Fairlance on the side. I mean, it was just a grueling hike up the side of that mountain, and the guide's running all over us. We're going up the side, and he just stops. He's pointing, and me and Andy are just like, "What are you looking at, man?" And he's like, "The Fairlance right there. It's 6 feet in front of us," and kind of just like this video. And perched up perfectly, just the one small flat area on the side of this mountain. It was just crazy.
Super cool, man. Super cool.
I mean, if you spend more time out in the field, you start to pick up patterns and colors, and
right.
So you can like grasp them quicker. It's like, when we're over around here looking for like copperheads and timbers and stuff like that, it's funny. I could be sitting right on the rocks next to like a pile of copperheads, and people are like at the lookout, like, "Oh, this is so cool." And there's a pile of big gravid female copperheads sitting there, and they don't even see them. They could be 2 feet away, dude. I'm sitting right next to them, and they have no idea. But once it's just it's almost like muscle memory for your eyes. You catch patterns. So like once you see them, they're kind of imprint over time, and it gets easier to see stuff. But that's such a good location, that area that we were in. I really can't wait to go back there.
Excellent. And that's the gollywasp?
That is the gollywasp. That was
that's crazy looking.
Dude, that was a strong fucking lizard, I'll tell you.
Really?
It was like a big, oversized skink on steroids, and it was probably about 16 inches long.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. When I was holding it in my hand, like, it was hard to keep it from getting away from me. You had to hold it firmly.
Yeah.
And it was, its head was probably a good couple of inches long.
And are they smooth like the Haitian ones?
Yeah, they're smooth like a
snake. Yeah, that's tough. It's like slippery, man. It's awesome.
And its whole belly. There's another picture. I don't think I sent it to you. I'm holding it on its back, and its whole belly is blood orange. It's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I went into that freaking capture not even knowing what I was looking for. The one guy I was with spoke only Spanish, and he kept saying coral, and I'm like, "What do you mean coral?" Like, I thought it was a lizard, and he's like, "Coral, like they call it a coral, I guess, because of the colors."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I couldn't see anything, and I'm sticking my hand in this hollow tree stump, and I'm like, "What the?" And then finally, my buddy Tom, I saw it, and I just grabbed it and was able to pull it out. But really interesting. I think I have a video of when we released it. It literally like sort of snake-like the way that it walked. Like it's like almost like a slithering type weird movement. It wasn't like a lizard running.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
Now, and is that tail just naturally orange? Is that a regen? What is that?
It looks regen.
The end of it is a regeneration. But it was that lizard was like black, white, orange, red, and yellow. It was crazy looking, man.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Apparently those things are very sought after by collectors, and for good reason, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know that thing existed until you showed that picture. That's incredible.
Yeah, they're from, there's other localities from different countries in Central and I guess South America, but I also feel like that lizard, from what I recall, certain members of the family of that family of lizards have live babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, but I've never seen a lizard have a live birth, but I think that'd be cool as shit.
Yeah, I've kept a couple species that do that, and it's pretty awesome. So
yeah, I bet.
What are we looking at here? Is this like a coffee snake of some kind?
I think that was a
looks like a fairy nonax, right?
I thought it was like a blunt-headed vine snake or something.
I agree with Justin.
What did he say it was?
One of the
slug eater?
What the hell's the common name for them?
Oh, snail eater.
I think they're bird eaters.
Bird eater, that's right.
Yeah.
No, that little one with the pattern? No, I don't think so.
Right,
the bird eaters are quite big, like much bigger. That unless it's a neonate.
Yeah, I think
that looks like a young one,
Pasilla, not Pasilla.
No, it's Fear Nonax.
Yeah, that's right. Fear Nonax. What's the species name?
I don't know.
So those things are very prolific in Hitoi Sorare. The first day we got there at the research station, there was like a 7-footer crawling up the kitchen wall in the outdoor kitchen area. And then there was another like old well area that had a roof on it, and they were all tucked up under there, just chilling out. Really, really cool area, man. It's one of those areas where it's just booming with animals. That's the research facility where we stay. So there's like rooms, there's a little kitchen area, there's like a common area, there's like a little research area. Really, really cool.
It's Pasillinotus, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I said. So that's Pasillinotus.
I was thinking Pilatus, which is definitely not. That's Spilotes.
It sounded right to me, Justin. It was close enough.
Similar, damn it.
We also
they're long and they're fast, and they eat.
You were just thinking the Pasiliferia.
Yeah, I was.
So do you see that picture? That is the river that goes up through the area, Hitoi Sorare. I think in Bribri that translates to mossy rock or slippery rock, which is slippery as fuck. Like walking in that because it's difficult going. If you go up that river for about a mile, there's a waterfall with a big couple of pools under it. It's like 100-foot high waterfall coming off of a sheer cliff.
Wow.
It's incredible, man. We'd like to go further up next time. So that's the other half of the trip that we're gonna do for next year. Like four days in Osa and then another 3 or 4 days in Hitoi Sorare.
I'm assuming there's usually more water in here than that, or no?
There's deep pools, and it depends on where you are in the river, but you can swim in parts of it.
Okay.
Luckily, like that. I mean, if you're in the rainy season, that thing's raging. You're gonna die. So yeah. So we definitely want to be in the dry season, and that water is so crystal clear coming out of the mountains. Like we were drinking it literally the way right out of the river.
Wow,
it was crazy. That's the little racer that I found. I was actually photographing a couple of, I don't remember if they're amoebas or lacertas, some really neat little lizards that were just catching insects off the trail. And as I had my camera set up on the tripod, photographing those, this thing shot out of the bushes and tried to grab one, and then I grabbed him. Cool little snake, though.
Very cool. Great shot.
Oxybolus.
Yeah.
We found that one. I have better shots of this snake, actually. That was right near the river in some... it was just chilling out, like, in some reeds, just like... And it was doing the whole, like, waving in the wind, like, you know, so it's, like, part of it. Almost like what lizards do that? The chameleons?
Yeah, some chameleons do.
You know, how they're like kind of rock back and forth. This was doing the same thing.
There's the Eratus you're talking about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they are gorgeous, man. And I found some big ones, man, that are like the size of like little toads. Out of all the dart frogs, those are the largest ones I've found.
They're like a bicolor. I think that's a Phyllobates for sure.
Yeah. Is that what it is, or is it Dendrobates?
No, that looks like a Phyllobates. I think it's a bicolor, maybe.
Yeah, that one is from Hitoy-Serere, and it's much different than the ones in Brebri. These have they're very purple on the legs with like blotches of purple color, where in Brebri it's like there's blotches way up higher on them. They're awesome. So cool, like watching them call each other.
Dude, I miss keeping them so bad, and I kept the Tatus. That's the only Phyllobates I had, but that's one of the reasons I want to go to Costa Rica so bad. Is it's like that's at the top of my list compared to pretty much everywhere else in the world, just because it's got scorpions, they've got tarantulas, they've got spiders, they've got
they've got everything.
They've got dart frogs, like they check all the boxes for me, man.
Yeah, when I was down in Peru, down in the Amazon basin, it's so vast and so big, and it seems to me almost that it's like in that area of the Amazon, it's just so spread out, and there's so many areas that are so big that are just one environment, that you don't have these areas where there's, you know, transitioning environments where threshold areas you can find stuff easier. And in Costa Rica, man, we find a lot. It's very rewarding.
It's a very yellow eyelash.
That one looked like it had some issues, actually. It looked thin, like it maybe had internal parasites or something, but it was actually pretty big, so it might have just been an older animal. I mean, if you kind of look at its head, that's the viper that Alexis found that's from Monteverde.
That's gorgeous, man. Can you imagine just walking down the trail with your headlamp and then bam, that thing just shines back at you? Incredible.
And they found a bunch of them that night, right?
Yeah, they found like 3, I think.
Wow.
Is that bilineata?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Super faint bands on that.
Yeah. It almost looks like a chlorecus, dude. With
almost
weird white or yellow dashes down the back.
Yeah.
So that thing is straight up Montaigne area where that was located. I think year round up there, it's like straight up 60s. I don't think it gets much hotter than that.
Wow.
So cool.
70s maybe. It's cold, but it's very humid.
Look at that thing.
Some cool scorpions down there.
Yeah, that looks like
did you guys
the Titius maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you guys bring the blacklight, or did like the guides have that, or?
I think Sean brought that.
Oh, okay. And any idea of the species or no? Any photos of it not blacklight?
I don't recall. I think that one will fuck you up. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was black. I think it was one of the tan ones. There's
probably some species of Titius then, because that tail it doesn't look like Centroides. It looks a little too stocky to be Centroides.
Yeah,
it's Titius for sure.
There are some that'll mess you up down there.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see any whip scorpions, though. Normally I see them in the crotches of the trees and stuff. I didn't see any. So that is the mangroves coming out from Sierpe. We're actually on this area. We're heading back to Sierpe from Osa. So the mangroves are cool, man, because there's a lot of life out there, and the fishing is great, and it's a really good spot, man. It's a really cool trip to kick off, like where you're going and what you're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
And the crocs
and stuff out there.
Yeah.
A lot of bird life.
Macaw.
Those are a couple of macaws that we saw. That was on the way back from
that was leaving the Bushmasters.
Yeah, that was when we were walking down the road.
Yeah, I think it was like a mother just yelling at her kid and wasn't having it.
It's got to be crazy seeing those in the wild after you're so used to seeing them, in pet stores and people's houses, and
they're everywhere.
Every day.
Dude, monkeys.
I didn't get used to it.
Toucans.
Be like seeing a bearded dragon in the wild. It'd just be weird. It's like, why are you not behind some glass at PetSmart? What are you doing here?
Dude, I caught a monster green basilisk down there and a big ass brown basilisk. And the funny thing is, I caught them both at night, and both of them were underwater when I caught them.
Wow.
The green basilisk was in Bree, and it was a sizable male. Full crest all the way back down the tail, everything, and it was bright banana leaf green, and I thought it was a banana leaf under the water, and it was holding on to a rock, and it was eating moss off of the rock underwater. So I grabbed the thing, and within 5 minutes it turned almost black. And the same thing with the brown basilisk. I caught that in Osa, and I trapped it at the base of a waterfall. And when it dove in, I caught that one. That was a weird little frog that I had no idea what he was, but I found him.
Looks like a species of amirga.
Right near the Bushmaster, right in that little, right before we found it. We found that in the river system, or near the river.
And I'm going to put my vote on that scorpion as Centroides lymbatus, which, if you guys look at that tail is very lymbatus, especially since you said it was like a reddish brownish color.
Yeah, most of them are like kind of like a beige color.
Yeah, it's definitely weren't even like marbled or like digital camouflage looking.
That one I wasn't there for that one, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lymbatus. They have like this weird base to the tail that kind of like is squared off.
It looked like a pretty good sized one. I'll say that.
Yeah,
that's probably one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, they're like bicolor size, right?
If not a little bigger.
Yeah,
definitely a little more heavy bodied than all the other Centroides.
Yeah.
Brandon has some of those too, man.
Does he really?
Yes.
Lymbatus?
Yes. It's killing me, dude. I was on his website multiple times over the week. Like, just do it.
I got my first observation of the baby Parabuthus. Before the show, I just went in there because they're in the same rack as the cerastes, and I assumed that their cups are going to dry out relatively quickly. So I wanted to just give them a quick little mist, and I use the black light because they're so tiny. I use a black light in the deli cup to find them. I don't see them. I'm like, all right, they're hidden. I spray them. They all immediately came out.
Really?
Like the minute little babies that you raised up.
No, I just got them. They're tiny little babies. Yeah, but they're South African, and they're semi-arid grassland, steppe real hot though, in terms of temperature wise. So like I said, I have them in the rack with the cerastes. So during the day it's like 85 degrees in there. So I wanted to make sure that try and keep a little bit of that microclimate, but I was not expecting them to all just come out after I sprayed. They're like, oh, it rained, time to frolic.
So are you guys interested in mantids as well?
Always.
So in Hitoi Serere, I mean, I don't know the names of them really, but I found at least 3 different species of mantid there as well.
Very cool.
That place is booming with like a lot of different insect life, mantids, tarantulas, everything.
There's some crazy beetles down there too.
Yeah, there was a the last time we were in Hitoi Serere, there was a research group that put these little they dug holes and put cans in the ground with a carrion. And they were doing a study on the carrion beetles down there, and they had like at least 50 of these cans that
really,
yeah. So we were helping them pull the cans and label everything and documenting that when we were there. But really, I mean, what a cool! I mean, they had quite a bit of stuff in there too. It was interesting. But cool. Just the carrion beetles alone, there was a number of different beetles down there that we were looking at.
Nice,
really cool. Oh, also in not this trip, but the last trip I was down before in Osa, I had a huge harlequin beetle fly right like and hover in front of my headlamp, and I was able to catch him. And
that's cool.
That thing was like this long. Beautiful.
It's like a Black Hawk helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing was so awesome, man. Like, if you didn't know what that was, you'd be freaked out by it.
Oh, for sure.
Big.
I can imagine the tourists sitting there in a lounge chair drinking pina colada, and that thing just hovers over them.
There's so much beautiful stuff there. The morphos that you see, and just all the different butterflies and moths and stuff. It's incredible. You could be down there a lifetime and not document everything that's in that jungle. It's quite. It's funny because people are like, "Don't you want to go anywhere else?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do," but every time I go there, like you see something different.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a sure thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see stuff, and it's like gonna be different stuff every time. So if you're putting yourself in the right place, like you're gonna find things, and you kind of break it up a little. Like we go, sport fishing out there and stuff, and you just can't beat it. You don't have to go like 30 miles out to catch what we're catching.
Nice. Very cool, guys.
Yellowfin sashimi, like right off the boat. I mean, can't beat it.
Pretty much every day.
Dude, how about that sauce that he made for that?
Yeah,
he made this hot sauce. Stuff was so good, man. I think we ate pounds of sashimi, like just pounds of it.
You guys just drinking Panicure the whole trip?
I didn't get.
Probably should have.
Tapeworms will catch up with us at some point.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
C-Pro, Panicure.
Look at that Chondro Cash shirt.
Look at that.
You just mix that stuff into the pina coladas, man.
Oh, for sure. No joke. I had friends back in the day who used to go to Costa Rica a lot, and they would buy the Panicure down there because it was easy to get. You just walk in the pharmacy and buy it. And they would literally be like, "Hey, man, we all woke up. Who wants a shot of Panicure before breakfast?" And they literally would just do that. Amongst many of the other debaucherous things in Costa Rica.
Phil, you should go. You would have a fucking blast.
Yeah, I know, man. I gotta get the hell off this continent, but the desert calls to me, man. I gotta figure something out.
Desert? What desert?
Man, I want to go to the Sahara, man, real bad. And like I started talking to people in Morocco and Egypt and Israel,
you're gonna get a kidney stolen if you don't calm down.
The Namib.
Oh yeah, dude, the Namib. Don't even get me started. Actually, I just had a young academic individual who is Namibian born and does snake research in Namibia. He just messaged me on Instagram saying, "Hey man, your Namibian puffs are beautiful, but nothing like that looks like that in Namibia. I wonder if they're really Namibian." And I'm like, well, they're European captive bred, so who the hell knows? But I'm hoping he messages me back so we can deep dive that.
So you're talking about the desert and stuff, like it's calling to you, dude. I've had this thing in my head for many years where I want to go to Bhutan.
Yo, dude, who was I just talking to about going to Bhutan? I think it was a Henry. I don't remember.
It's such a sick place, and you don't hear anything about it or document it. Like there's like montane regions there. Like that's like one of those places where you could find like new species.
Oh, for sure.
It's just not. It's not like explored nearly enough.
Yeah. It's what it is. It's off the beaten path, man. Everyone has their heart set on the more common stuff. Like even Nepal, man. Like, Nipper's herped Nepal when Nipper's a mountain climber, and he's climbed not Everest, but he's climbed many peaks in Nepal. And dude, he's done some herping, and like the kukri snakes that come out of Nepal are insane, man. Insane. And like nobody thinks, but like, dude, Bhutan, it's right there, or even
that's
even
one of those
Tibet.
places where there could be a fucking Yeti,
Yeah, for sure.
Like legit,
sure.
There could be something fucked up living up there. I think there is a thing called I think they were called, I don't know if I got the country wrong, but it's called the Orang Pendak or something.
Okay.
It's like they're calling it like a Yeti type thing, but in those highland areas of Bhutan, right, before it's like lower tree line but montane before
subalpine.
Yeah, that's the area where you could find like snakes and shit that nobody's ever seen, maybe.
Yeah, well, Henry was showing me, I guess, a year or two ago. There was, this whole rumor of these Tibetan king cobras, and everyone's like, no, it's too high altitude. The leaf litter isn't there for them to make nests. And sure as hell, they found these king cobras that's probably its own species up in the mountains of Tibet, and they use pine needles to make the nest.
I bet. Yeah.
It's wild, man.
Dude, that would be so sick, man.
That's so cool.
And you slide right into that thing.
Yeah, man.
And
wild
he's like,
stuff.
how are you having your footing on this slope? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I've been doing this for a while.
Figured it out eventually.
Like currency and stuff goes when you guys are going to get food and stuff like that.
You can just use dollars, man. They'll give you colones and change, but they take dollars.
Okay.
You just got to know what the transition rate is. It's very similar though.
Gotcha.
Some things are cheaper. Some, like if you buy like Pilsens or Imperial beer, like those are cheap. But if you start buying stuff that's like imported, like, damn, dude, I paid like $30. Wait, Justin,
there's no Coors Banquet available.
$36 screwdrivers.
Justin, didn't you pay like 30 something bucks for absolute fucking something?
No, it's Tito's.
It was Tito's?
Yeah, at that casino.
Fuck.
$36 for a double screwdriver.
Oh man. And see me, I'm thinking of like you going and getting a 12-pack of beer for like 89 cents.
Well, yeah, if you go to Panama,
you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you drink the national beers.
Cheap, but we were like, dude, I spent like too much money that first night. It was out of control.
Guys, you're talking casino prices compared to like when you're shopping out and about in the country.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I was out of control.
Yeah, I always heard that if you could eat like a king for probably about $100 for the week if you went to all local food.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay.
Can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like when we go down to Poor Man's Paradise, we crush fish and bring them back, and they cook everything or do whatever we want. They'll make us ceviche, whatever.
Cameroon
fish. And then, but like they have like, your typical, Costa Rican dishes for us, 3 meals a day included. And it's killer, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You eat every bit of it, man, because you're out there, either fishing or hiking, and you'll eat everything on your plate.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome.
And what are you guys typically taking with you when you're going on those hikes and stuff too, as far as like?
Not much. I mean, I'll take a bottle of water. I'll take some sort of, usually a flashlight and a headlamp. I prefer flashlights because when people are on the trail, turn around and talk to you and shit, they blind you. So I prefer to have just a flashlight. So like the best flashlight possible. Like the tactical lights that you put on your rifle, like the nicest light you can get, the most powerful light is what you want. Andy, you've got a monster light.
Yeah, I got a few.
So we take that, a hook or a couple of hooks and cameras or whatever you want to document stuff with, GoPro, stuff like that. Oh, and Osa, I also found a
small towel.
Yeah,
clutch.
Yeah. You get. I mean, if it pours rain while you're in the jungle, you want to be able to have usually a dry bag, something that you're going to put your camera equipment in at the very least, so it doesn't get destroyed. Because it can just start dumping on you. I bring a
even in the dry season, James, when we're trekking through the rivers and whatnot, dry bag was clutch.
Yeah.
I took more than a few spills in the middle of the rivers, and
you did.
I would have been in rough shape if I didn't have a dry bag.
Yeah.
A little dry bag, like they make little mini ones and stuff too. I mean, it's good to have. But most of them are like kind of like short half-day excursions or a couple of hours. So it's not, if you're gonna go in and do like an overnight or something, I have like jungle hammocks that are sealed where you can like zip up and you have like you put like not a tarp over it, but it has like a rain shield, and then it has like a net for mosquitoes. So I think that I can't remember the brand of that, but those things are freaking awesome.
Very cool.
But like I said, the bugs, they're not that bad. Not as bad as what people think. Unless you're somebody that's scared of bugs, then just don't fucking go to Costa Rica.
See, I think about like you're talking about how you have like the bug-proof hammock with like a rain fly on top, and like I just think about waking up and having like 3 or 4, Theraphosa tarantulas just on me, like, oh God.
I'd like to see them all on the outside of the hammock.
Oh, fuck that. I'm out.
Well, but the thing is that you're completely enclosed, so like the thing that you don't want is a bunch of freaking like leaf cutters just blowing onto your hammock while you're asleep.
Yeah, that's rough.
Like you just have 1,000 ants on you. Like, don't want that. Oh
God.
And then there's bullet ants.
Which what do you do in that scenario?
The bullet ants will hurt, man.
I mean, you wake up and the hammock is covered in ants. What do you do with that?
Suffer.
Just man up. Yeah.
Yeah. I was all hammered up one night and I pissed on a bunch of fire ants, dude. And they were biting me all over the place, man. It sucked.
That's rough.
Don't go take a leak without a headlamp on, man. That's what I like lit up their nest with like a piss stream and they freaking killed me.
Oh my God.
All over my sandal. I was like flip-flops. They're just chewing on me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wake up beat up after that. It's brutal.
Oof. Jeez.
So did you guys all meet up at the same, like somewhere in the States and fly down together?
We all met in San Jose. Me, Andy, and Tom and his buddy Sean all flew together, and then we met Justin, Alexis, and Sean at the airport. Kirk, my buddy Kirk. Yeah, he flew in from Singapore.
Wow.
We grew up together. We were herping together since we were in first grade, I think. No, third grade, something like that.
Olson, how long of a flight was that for you?
Like 7 hours total, 2 flights.
That's not terrible.
Maybe a little more, 7.5. Not bad at all.
I forget, did you have to stop in Miami or somewhere?
Dallas.
Fort Worth, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a transfer from there before as well. You can do straight shot, but it's going to cost you. It depends. Like, it's normally, I used to be able to get tickets for like $350. Now they're like $500-$600. Something like that.
They used to do straight shots from Minneapolis to Liberia, I know, and probably San Jose, but I couldn't find any this time.
Yeah, that'd be nice, but usually I go the cheaper route,
Yeah. I mean, of all the places to go, it definitely, from what I've heard, over the years, is like it's in terms of like affordability, it's definitely up there in terms of like something that's very reasonable where you can spend a decent amount of time down there and not break the bank doing so.
I mean, the next trip's going to be a bit pricey because we have to. I got to go. I'm going back to San Jose in May with Tom, and we're going to try to get the permits that we need.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be there for like 3 days for the trip to hit Toy Surrey. So it's going to be a bit more because of that, but I don't know. I think it's like 4,500 or something, he said.
Mm-hmm.
But that's everything included except for your airfare to and from San Jose. It's everything, all the meals, everything is included. Well, the other part is that because we want to try to save like on driving time, we're going to take a private chartered plane from San Jose to Osa and then back from Osa to Limon on the Caribbean side, and then back again to San Jose. Because you're going to save, like, in driving time, that's hours and hours and hours, like a whole
like a day.
Yeah, so
easily.
We're going to have
4 hours from San Jose just to Sierpe, so.
Yep.
Without traffic,
Yeah.
So we'll be saving a lot of time that way. Just taking a private plane. And then also have the van bring us from Limon when we land to hit Toy Surrey with all our food already. We're gonna have somebody already purchase all of our food that we're gonna cook at hit Toy Surrey.
Mm-hmm.
So the van will already have all our supplies for the week. So that's gonna be cool.
Excellent.
Booze, all the beer, booze, whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like on this trip, obviously you guys going to research station is a little different, but on this trip, how accommodating is it in terms of Western comforts? Like, if I want to go to the lobby and get a Red Bull, is that even a thought or no?
Well, there's no lobby. Like when we're in Osa, you have like little cabinas that you stay in,
right?
Or there's like a main house that you can stay in.
But there's there's no way to take a drive to a convenience store or something.
Well, you
could go to Drake Bay, but that's
you have to get to Drake Bay.
You have to like get a car to take you to Drake Bay, where there's restaurants and stuff. But
the terrain is brutal.
When you're at Poor Man's Paradise, that there's the cabinas, and you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner included. They ask you when you want to eat, and then you can also be like, hey, we're gonna be there's a little bar that they open up for us when we want them to, and they'll just start pouring drinks there. Nice. So they got that, and then
or if they're not open.
Yeah. Or so there's also there's a little restaurant up on the hill as well, and there's another one I think next door. So there's a couple of little restaurants and bars and stuff like that. But if you want like civilization, you've got to take a car for like how far do you think Drake Bay is, like, by car? 20 minutes?
40 minutes? No, 30, 35.
At least a half hour.
Yeah, because I mean, by car, we're saying like sitting in a truck, or like we were in the back of a truck where these guys were, and you have to cross a couple of rivers, and it's a dirt road, and
this is not a paved road. This is
during the rainy season. There's no chance you're getting through. I mean, everything's by boat.
Yeah, wow. Because that river, I've been in that river like up to my neck, where I'm like, I'm gonna get swept away, man. So. Setting traps for crayfish, which I just can't resist, dude, because they're so fucking good.
Nice.
They're so good,
dude. They're like lobsters.
Did you get pictures of those, James? I never did.
I didn't. I don't think I did get pictures this time. I don't remember. I'll send you guys some pics, dude. They're like 1 pound lobsters. These things.
Wow.
They're legit. And I found out they get up to 2 pounds. These things. Wild. You got to split them open with a steak knife, dude.
Wow.
That's how big they are.
That's wild.
Yeah, so good.
Like a yabby.
They're the largest species of crayfish in the world, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's another river in Bree where I found freshwater lobster.
Really?
Yep. Legit lobster, man. Like lobster claws. These things, the crayfish, have like these skinny, long claws. They're not like a lobster at all. But these things were like fat lobster claws. There's also freshwater crab in that river.
Very cool.
Size of dinner plates. That's the same river where I caught the green basilisk. But I mean, that was crazy, the amount of stuff in that river. But the Bree told me they took a couple of years off from collecting them because they were starting to drop down in numbers, so they were letting them build back up.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So what are what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so Phil, have you been shooting lately?
No, man, I don't. I never do.
Really?
Yeah, it's the plight of working in the industry. It's like guys that work with snakes and never get to go look for them.
I got to do that, but I've only been shooting like twice this past year.
Yeah, man, it's work. Story of our lives, right? The snakes on the side. So,
but I found a nice national match M1A that I bought recently.
Excellent.
And because I used to have that gun and I sold it, and now I missed it so bad. When I found it for sale on Gunbroker, I'm like, fuck it, I'm buying it.
Is this a like vintage 5-line, or is this like a more modern Springfield Armory?
It's a Springfield M1A national match.
Have the it's got the woodland stock.
It's got no, it doesn't have the that. It has the walnut stock,
right?
But it has the stainless steel national match barrel.
Excellent.
National match trigger. But it had the wrong scope. It had a shitty scope on it with the right mount.
Yeah.
So I found the third generation scope that was originally offered on it, and I love that scope. So I found that at another auction. And when I found that, I found the rifle and bought them both at the same time.
Excellent.
So I got the correct configuration for what I wanted.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I'm an M1A junkie, and I've got a few different configurations, but my favorite is I can't afford a Smith Enterprise, just to be blunt. So instead of having the crazy horse, I have what we call the lazy horse. So I took a black national match, and I just bought every Smith Enterprise part that I could and just outfitted the whole fucking thing. So I mean, I got like $500 in the fucking gas system. So it's a lot, but dude, I'm all about the M14 life. So.
Does Fulton Armory still make nice
yeah
stuff?
Dude, they make amazing stuff, man. And most people don't realize this. They think that a lot of people think that it's like a side company or whatever. No, the owner and founder of Fulton was one of the main Camp Perry guys.
So like enough said, right?
Yeah, there. He wrote some of the best books, some of the best literature on national match and high power rifle match, and just Fulton's got amazing stuff, man. They really do.
I'd like to get like the nice Macmillan stock for it and everything. And
but the problem is, man, dude, Macmillan's so Macmillan rifles and Macmillan stocks split apart. They're both owned by what's called the Strategic Armory Group, which is like a big umbrella company. And when they did that, it was like pre-COVID, and material costs went up. So instead of the national match Macmillan going for $500 or whatever for the stock, now they're like really, really expensive.
Fuck yeah.
And it's crazy.
And you gotta send them your gun.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably glass bet it myself. I'd probably take the time and do that, but
I thought they pillar. It's wait, I don't remember now if mine is a double. Mine's a single pillar, I think.
Yeah, I think unless you have an older like 5-line, and I don't think they're doubles.
Yeah, it's a single. So I mean, I could bet it myself.
But if you can find that the Woodland Macmillan, dude, that's a sweet ride, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. So.
What I kind of wanted to do is find an old M1A stock, a walnut stock.
Yeah.
And I wanted to cut the cheek piece cone myself and put the riser in myself.
Oh, you want to do like an IDF gun?
I want an M21.
Yeah, yeah. You seen the IDF M21s where it's 2 stocks cut in half?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. You all right, Justin?
Yeah, phone fell.
Where'd Andy go?
His little icon spin. Oh, there it is. There, that handsome man.
Blaze up one of your Cubans, Andy.
Got a little too late for that.
It's never too late.
Yeah, James, I'll send you some M1A stuff when we're off air, and we'll commiserate more, man.
I bought it must have been a year and a half ago. I bought I used to be big into collecting military Mausers, so I had everything. I had 80 fucking guns at one point, all military, every Mauser, every country, sniper rifles, everything. But one of the best ones I had was a Swedish, the CG63.
Okay.
It's the civilian target rifle that they use in Sweden for the matches at 300 meters. So it's open sights, match gun, glass bedded, heavy barrel, beautiful trigger. But fuck, man, I want to go hunt elk with that thing, dude.
You got to do it.
Yeah, my buddy just asked me my buddy Dave, he lives in Montana, and he does a lot of shit for the National Forest surveys and stuff like that. And he's up there collecting antlers and hunting and lives right out there. So he said every year they get elk every year, every time they can get tags. So
that's great, man.
Do it. That's the gun I want to bring.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it. It's made for the snow, man.
M1A is too heavy for that.
Yeah, it's meant for the bench.
It's just a heavy gun, but
yeah,
this thing is so lightweight. But it's like to shoot take an elk open sights like that with that gun would be awesome.
It would be. It's spiritual. Now that Smitty's back, give us some highlights of the trip, boys. Give us your top 3 highlights, and we'll go around robin.
And then what do you want to find when you go back? What's at the top?
Yeah.
So I would say the next trip, because we're doing both the Caribbean side and the OSA, is that I want to find a Bushmaster, different species on either side.
Yeah.
I want a Bushmaster on both coasts.
Very cool.
He wants to be the Bushmaster master.
Yes.
Dude, I mean, it's that animal is so. When I looked at that, I mean, it was funny, man, because Andy, you're like, hey, is Kirk a little close to that thing? I didn't realize, like, Kirk asked me, he's like, hey, what do you think the range is on this thing? How close can I get? And I walked away and I turned around and
we had to back him up a little bit.
Dude, he was like 3 feet from this thing. I'm like, this thing could grab his face.
Did he have a legit camera?
But the fucked up thing is that Kirk had he recently had a retina transplant, so he was blurry. Like, I don't know if his depth perception was.
Well, it happens to all of us. It's worse with the phone, but it's really easy to not realize how close you are to the snake via the viewfinder.
So I think some of the pictures I sent you were his, and he was a little close, man. That was a big snake. Like,
yeah, I mean, and Smitty will tell you, like, a lot of times I won't even take pictures. Like when Smitty and I went out to West Texas and everyone's photographing the rattlesnake, like I just get in the back of my mind. I'm like, you know what? I'll get my turn to take shots of the snake. I need to stand back and make sure that no one's getting too close. You know, you always gotta. Yeah. There's always gonna be that one guy to say, "Hey, I'll take the last pictures," because sometimes you know you don't realize, you think, "Oh, I got this lens in front of me." Meanwhile, your finger is in front of the DSLR or whatever, or your finger's in front of the phone.
Well, yeah, your face is here, but your hands are.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was funny, like when I first found it, like I had that one moment to myself where, like, I was alone with this thing and I could soak it in. Yeah. And I didn't take a lot of pictures But then when I called to these guys, I videotaped them coming, and then we did another cup. Everybody took some video and some pictures, but I was just so happy, man, to find that thing. Like, I didn't take a lot of video.
That's what happens, man. You get so
sometimes,
emotional that you forget.
I like to soak in, like, just the experience. And I love taking photos and stuff. Like, I really do. And I wish I had better pics of that animal. But at the same time, like, when you're doing that, you lose out on something else, you know?
Yeah.
But it was awesome, man. These guys were fucking going nuts. I mean, that's the thing that you want to find the most. Like, on that trip that we fucking scored big. It was so good.
Nice. Andy, what about you, bud?
Black-headed bushmaster's got to be number one, but all the Bothriaicus are awesome, and there's so many to see in different parts of the country you have to travel to check all the boxes there that hard to pick just one, but there's a lot to dig into there. And then if I had to settle on a third, they would probably be angulated tree boa. I mean,
nice.
Oh yeah,
or any corralis, you know, down in Costa Rica would be epic. So,
dude, the Rauschenberger
took mine.
Yeah, I mean, I still yet to find a boa constrictor, man.
Really?
I want to find a lunker boa constrictor. And I always, like, I'm literally getting on the boat last trip, and this guy's like, hey, did you see the large snake down the beach? Must have been 3-4 meters. I'm like, really? I'm like getting on the boat to leave, and like a giant boa. I mean, that I just want to catch a big monster boa. Never found one.
Every time that happens to me, I just tell myself it's like a rubber inner tube or something. You know what I mean? Just like tell myself it's a busted tire, and then I just forget it happened.
Meanwhile, it was probably a bushmaster.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, everything's a boa.
World record rainbow boa out of range. Yeah.
Yeah, rainbow boa would be cool to find.
Yeah. Justin, I know you wanted to say annulated, but give us what you got.
We got to find a Rauschenberger eye next time. What was that other viper that we were looking for in the river systems? Sorry, I'm bad with
the jumping viper, the hognose, or
yes, that's the hognose.
Yeah,
we got to find one of those.
Phil doesn't think Porthidium are cool.
They're cool. They're
pretty cool, dude.
Not as cool as Calisolesma.
You know, that snake would be like the most cryptic one, like in that river system. Like, I would walk over that probably.
It's just like you walk over rattlesnakes, you know?
Yeah,
Remember
sometimes.
you said that
it was also about this big, Andy, curled up.
Remember you said that the one Atrox, I guess on the Caribbean side, they get more of like a blue, purpley kind of. The same thing goes with the hognose. From what I gather, that Costa Rican East Coast, they get some crazy, not your normal leaf litter coloration. So that would be cool.
Yeah, I've seen some grays and some
cool
oh, you know what was fucking cool, man? On the Caribbean side, the Epicrates, the banana boa.
Yeah.
Those are hard to find. You don't see them very often. We found one, and it was killer, man.
All right, so Justin, what else, man?
More eyelash vipers. The other color phases of the eyelash vipers. I'm all about them.
Yellow.
Yeah, yellow would be really cool. That Christmas phase one was gorgeous, but you got to complete the list.
Yeah.
So sure. All the yellows that I've found, well, we're on the Caribbean side. But Johan said that like a week before we got there, a couple of days before, they found a yellow one right near where we were staying.
Yeah, he pointed it out to us when we were poking around at night one night.
Nice.
Like where
but again,
it was when he found
on
it.
the coast. Like, I feel like the yellows, I've always found them on like right on the coastline. Right near the
Is there any rhyme or reason to that, Phil or Justin? Do you know, like in captive breeding, like
in terms of like variability of offspring?
Yeah.
From what I gather, the like Christmas style or the lichen phase, as they call them, they will oftentimes produce more lichen phase. And like if you have yellow to yellow, high probability you're going to either get dirty yellow or stark yellow. But it was always conveyed to me, because I'm not a big Bothriechis guy, that it's very similar to Amazon tree boas, where you have possible variability, but if mom's yellow and dad's yellow, you're probably going to get yellow babies.
Right.
Not saying you can't get some crazy off the wall thing, but you're most likely going to get more yellow or more Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right. Interesting.
And now they split all them up now, and there's like, I don't even know, like 15 different species now.
Really?
So yeah, there was a whole paper last year about them splitting everything up. So
Bothriechis as a genus, or the eyelashes in particular?
Specifically eyelash, in terms of splitting up regional phenotypes from actual different species, and most of it was almost country based. You know, like the Colombian stuff is different than the Panamanian stuff, and Costa Rican stuff is different, but you also had a lot of overlay of certain species in terms of mountain ranges and elevations. So I have the paper. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, and the paper was incredible. Is it looks like the paper's illustrations, the scientific illustrations of the head structure and the body type and the patterning and the different phenotypes, it looks like it's an illustration, like a colored pencil. It's not. It's just really, really amazing photographs on white background of each individual specimen. And it's actually a really cool paper. Just to look at the range maps and the different phenotypes, it's a really cool paper.
Didn't they just split up the king cobras?
Yeah, they did. There's still some work that needs to be done, but they broke them into several different areas. So,
but you said that earlier that they did find the different cobra. Where was that?
Tibet.
In Tibet.
In Tibet, yeah, it was king.
So, damn, man, I wonder if those things could be in like Bhutan or
Nepal. They are. I don't think Nepal, but I think there is a Bhutan locality.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can get the.
Heck, man. I want to find some shit up in the montane areas of Bhutan. You gotta love a country whose like motto is like they base their, they don't have like they base their whole society on the gross national happiness.
Nice.
I mean, you can't beat that. You know, they find like an injured animal, and it's like their duty to fucking heal it and let it back go into nature.
So just doing a quick Google thing real quick. So you basically have a king cobra from the Western Ghats, and then you've got what they call the northern, which is Eastern India, almost all of Southeast Asia up into that Tibet region and along like the Nepalese border. And then you have Sunda king, which would be Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Borneo, Java, and then you have Filipino, which is Philippine Islands and some surrounding northern Sunda stuff. They call it the Luzon king cobra. So you basically have 4 species now.
Nothing goes as far as into Mongolia, does it?
Nah.
So,
too many mountains, too many deserts.
But are they in Bhutan?
I'm pretty sure.
So you have Nepal, Tibet, Bhutan. I would think that they would be there, but you just don't hear anything. You don't hear about like reptiles of Bhutan.
Yeah.
You know, like I just feel like that's a place that needs to be explored.
So I got the map on the eyelashes, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically Schlegeli, Superciliaris, and I think just those 2 got broken down into 10 different species. And it looks like
How does the naming convention work? Is it Schlegeli and then they're
No, they're their own species.
Huh.
Wait until they do Amazon tree boas.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be wild. So, but yeah, you basically have trying to compare maps so I don't say the wrong country. Hold on a second. If I zoom out. We just did an episode of this on Venom Exchange Radio. You think I'd remember it. So basically, you've got Negroda spirsus Negrod spirsus is Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica. Superciliaris is southern Pacific side, Costa Rica. And then you've got, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other species in Panama, Western Colombia, and Ecuador.
So they're saying there's only one in Costa Rica?
Yeah, from this map, it looks like that. Yeah, it's Negrota spursus.
So, I mean, the only ones that I've found in Costa Rica, there's like a bright yellow. And then recently we found the Christmas, like the red and green mossy phase.
Right.
And then I've found there's another one. There's like more of a gold. It's not like that bright lemon yellow. It's like a gold color.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys how do you produce the ones that have like the pink on them? Like,
I think that's just mostly selective breeding.
Yeah,
selective breeding.
Yeah. I think somebody found one in the wild not long ago that was that yellow and pink, though. I vaguely remember seeing that on there's a Costa Rica group on Facebook. I want to say it was.
And here, Smitty, I'm putting in the map in the group chat in case you want to share it on the screen.
I'll bring it up.
Did Justin go get a beer? Bounce.
We're to assume so.
So, Justin.
Better.
Which one?
Oh, he's back. Mr. Smith. How are your corn snakes doing?
They're all right.
Corny.
Yeah, corny.
Did you produce some babies?
No, I'm not pairing any corns this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing rhinos mostly.
The rhino rats?
Yeah.
How
are those?
Why is it not letting me share this? They're good. We haven't gotten into the season yet. A couple of my females are in shed or on the sort of the ending phases of a shed, and I'm gonna start putting them with some males if they're not already with one, because I have one pair that I cohab year round. So, and he's been chasing her around a bit lately, so I think they're working on it.
So do you just cool them a little bit? Like they're not like brumating colubrids, so.
I mean, I've cooled them in the past, but at this point, I just take them off food, and the room does get a little cooler naturally. I mean, not so much now that I keep a heater going. But yeah, I let them sort of do their thing, and
right on.
They're pretty consistent with the clutches year to year. So come on, computer.
What
Any
about
chondro luck?
No, that's I had a pair together, and he was giving it his all, and nothing was happening. I thought she was ovulating or gravid at one point, and then I took a closer look, and she wasn't. I was just my imagination was just being hopeful, but
well, it's been a fucking slow start this year.
Has it?
Like I've never had such a late season where I don't already have eggs in the incubator or babies potentially ready to hatch soon. I have a snake that should be laying in like next 14 days. But that's extremely late. And then I have another one I'm hoping is going to ovulate in the next couple of days. But I mean, this is very, very late. And I think
that definitely is.
Tommy had a clutch recently. Well, he's about 14 days away or 13 days away from hatching.
Mm-hmm.
But at this rate, like, I do have animals still breeding. I have a couple that look like they're growing follicles well, but I've yet to have a second ovulation.
Yeah.
So I know I didn't miss it. It's just a little unusual. I don't know if it's because it was mild winter or what.
I found a Jansenii egg probably 2 weeks ago, a week or two ago. That was like semi-decent, that she didn't lay in the lay box, and I set it aside in a little deli with some spag, and it's bounced back pretty well. I think it might be good.
Sweet.
So we'll see if that goes the distance or not. I'm not getting my hopes up, because last time I did that, I had a baby that went pretty much full term and never came out. So
that shit happens.
Yeah.
They'll do everything to make you cry.
Yeah, I wear my cup now. So no shots to the nuts for me. No, they're not getting me again. They already got me once.
Yeah. Did you candle it? Was it fertile?
So those are kind of tough. Like, you candle them, but you have to wait about 2 weeks or so before you see any good signs of
they're fucking tiny, right?
No, the eggs are actually pretty big, but they're so
shelled.
Yeah, the shells are so thick that you can have. When I had that full term baby in there, you could candle it and you wouldn't even know that there was anything in there.
Oh wow!
Like, it would look almost like there was nothing going on, but it's very strange. I don't know, but this one I saw, there's the red ring on the top, so I need to candle it again and see where it's at. But it was definitely dehydrated when I came across it, and it's plumped back up pretty well and seems to be pretty good for the most part. So we're gonna see. I'm not putting it in the incubator or anything. I'm gonna write it out on the shelf and see what happens in the next 100-something days, because they take forever to hatch too. So
yeah, my buddy Kirk, he produced a couple of clutches over the years of mountain king snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd brumate those. I think I feel like he used to just take their enclosures and put them in his closet.
Yeah.
They'd brumate in there, and it was cold in there and, dark, and he'd leave them in there for a while. But when he'd find the eggs were so freaking small, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know of a species that has, I mean, I don't even know how do you even handle something like that?
Right. I bought one of those like chicken egg candlers off Amazon, and I've used that, and that's been pretty nice, because it focuses that beam of light instead of trying to sit it on the my phone flashlight or something where the light kind of leaks around it.
I use a little tactical flashlight,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll put it I'll sit the egg on my hand like this. So it's sitting on my hand, and I'll just put it under there, and I'll get a good candle that way, and bring it into a dark space. But
my clumsy
little
drop it.
Things were like the size of Pez, those mountain king snake eggs. And he'd get them eating good too, man. Like, he'd raise them up, and pretty impressive. That's some challenging shit right there.
Yeah.
He got to the point where he's like, if it's not gonna eat like unscented whatever, like, that's it, like, it's gonna die, because he said it was such a pain in the dick trying to get, but he said he'd get them eating 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Lisa asked if she just lays the Jansenii lays one egg at a time, and she doesn't. There's usually I find a couple slugs normally when I'm cleaning. I just happen to lift up the hide. Last time I was doing a deep clean. Like I did a complete substrate change on them and stuff, and found this egg under the hide, and it looked good. It looked like the normal pebbly duds that I get. So I think I salvaged it. We'll see. But
I think Kirk was telling me also that when he had the Mountain Kings, that she'd lay like a couple of eggs like one day, and then like a couple of days later she'd lay more.
mm-hmm.
Like they just wouldn't all come at once. It's kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, some of those species, man, they're just
because it's like
bizarre.
there's not like, it almost makes you think that there's not like an event where they're gonna like like with green trees, man, like they're coming. Like you can
yeah.
Like they're all coming at once, and if they
Pretty
don't all come at once, like that's not normal. And it happens, like they'll retain something, or they'll get something like something adhered to the oviduct and egg bound, but you can tell when there's a problem. But like when they're not all coming at once, that's not normal.
Mm-hmm. I think it just depends on the species and sort of the natural history of them. It's the same with the Dion's rats. They have a sort of a really long gestation, and then they lay, and then the eggs hatch after a month. So just depends, I guess, on the recipe for that species and how it operates.
Yeah. Then you get something like Strassy's vipera that, I can't remember how long the gestation period is until the eggs are laid, and then they hatch out like 3 weeks, if that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a locality of them, I think, that is like 7-day incubation.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
No shit.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it in the context of those and like Dion's, it makes complete sense because they're coming from environments that are really volatile, and so it's better for the eggs to sort of quote unquote incubate in mom as long as possible, and then spend as little time exposed, outside of her as possible.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Andy, you got any breeding activity with that blue deuce male anymore?
Yeah, I'm having a late season too. I didn't start getting locks till like 2 weeks ago, but
it's been a while.
They're separated right now, and I'll put them back together soon, and I'm gonna try another pair in like a week or so. But yeah, really late for me.
How's Moluccans?
Probably next year. Next year. Yeah.
Excellent.
Better juice them fuckers up.
Yeah. Yeah, they could probably need a good one more year or so, but yeah, they're getting there.
Olson, what do you got cooking?
Had one clutch of duds in November, so that was a heartbreaker. Couple other pairings, but not too much going on here.
Didn't you have Tommy's Sirac signal hurt male breeding that female?
No, I have a female from him.
Oh, that's right. It's a female, sib to mine.
Yeah, and I had her with that Blue Miss Sophie male from Irby. And
herbs.
No, I think I had probably a half dozen locks or so, and then they kind of cooled off, and it's a work in progress. We'll see.
Put them back together. Keep it going.
They're together right now. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, the whole country's got a weird dip this past week.
It's that damn groundhog, man.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if things just keep on rolling.
Yeah.
I still have them locking up. I mean, let me see what this fucker's doing.
I just separated my pair that I had together for a couple weeks. That was when I got nailed by that female, because I had them together, and anytime I moved past that particular tub, one of them would grab the other one thinking it was food.
Oh, jeez.
And so then I was in the process of trying to separate them and wasn't paying attention to her, and that's the one that just absolutely nailed me on the finger.
Is that the female from Brahms?
No, this was one of the ones from Luke from Myers.
Okay.
I think it is weird. I am the only guy here that doesn't have chondros.
Is all your stuff
we gotta
venomous,
fix that,
or...
Phil.
No, not all venomous. I have a good handful of colubrids. I got some lizards, but the snake room is with the exception of some North American colubrids, it's a desert room through and through. Or I always call it, arid steppe-land desert room. I've got some grassland species. I've got desert stuff, but I try to maintain at least an ambient of 85. Right now it's winter, so it's fluctuating a lot, but in summer it'll be pushing 90 in the room in the day, and then it'll be like 71, 70 at night. So I got at least a 10 to 15 degree drop each night. And it sucks because it'll be 80%, 90% humidity outside. And then in the room, I try to keep it between like 35 and 45% humidity. So
you're just in there fucking cleaning snakes, free balling.
Well, no, actually, I usually I wait until. So I have a rule with venomous, and this has been a
Still
rule.
in a banana hammock, just fucking hooking fucking snakes.
Like
like
Ace Ventura and the rhino cleaning cages.
It's kind of hot in these rhinos. No, I have a rule that you don't do venomous after 10 p.m. unless you had started prior, right? So I usually go in the room 8:30 at night, depending on what I'm doing. Because most of the stuff's nocturnal. So I feed at night. I'll do some cleaning at night. And then sometimes I'll do some cleaning early morning on like my day off, like 10, 11 in the morning. I'll do it then. And the room hasn't gotten to full temp yet. But yeah, I do most of my feeding and maintenance at night. So it's not that bad.
Right on.
It's just, it is crazy though, like trying to keep the humidity down. And I think that in my mind, I have aspirations of like 30% humidity, 25% just dry, but I'm probably doing better than I would keeping it around 40-ish, 45%. Like right now it's, I don't even know what it's like outside right now. I got a crazy windstorm going on, but in the room, if it's 55% humidity, the sand's still dry. Like there's no moisture in the enclosures per se. Half, maybe I won't say half, a good handful of stuff, I don't even give them water. But that ambient humidity in the air being 50%, 55, 52%, I know it's got to have a benefit, especially in the evening. Eventually, I've got a bunch of black box Vivs that are not built out. Eventually, when I do have them built out, I'll have all the heat emitters and stuff. I really want to start a quick mist system at like 4 a.m. So like if it's 71 at night or 70 degrees at night, and then like 4 a.m, it like mists for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Is it like a fine, fine nozzle?
It doesn't have to be. I mean, I haven't built it yet, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I can get some misting there at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning before the sun comes up outside, by 11 o'clock or noon, that shit's burned off, gone. And that way I can keep that early morning dew.
Yeah.
That is prevalent in an actual desert.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, in the future, because I'm trying to build these Vivs, but I'm too anal about how I want to do it.
What are
how do you decrease the humidity in your room? Do you do anything?
So I was going to get a dehumidifier, but I don't think I'm going to do it because like I said, I am liking the fact there's a little more humidity than there probably should be, especially since I've got like corn snakes and I've got carpet pythons and like stuff that is, I've got water python, stuff that is tropical, but can handle drier climate, if you will. So I'm not going to do the dehumidifier route, but honestly, the room is sealed because it's escape proof. And I constantly have air conditioning pumping in.
Well,
so
that'll make it dry.
So that in itself, aside from the room getting hot, and then like I have on the room, there's big windows. All the windows I put metallic tint. So the mirror tint, you know what I mean? Yep. So when you're outside the building, it looks like a mirror. On the inside, it just looks like tinting, and that actually keeps the room cooler. So because if it wasn't, it would be really hot in there. But yeah, I basically have just been very selective. Most of the water bowls, like for example, the subox, the Transpecos rat snakes, all of them, I give them about an inch of water when I feed, And by the time I feed the following week, the water bowl is bone dry. So I only add water when I'm feeding. That way they can eat, they can get a drink, and then in a day or two, it's completely evaporated. The Cerastes, I only give them water once every 90 days, 100 days, something like that. And what I'll do is I'll take them out, put them in a container. I'll give them a bottle cap of water. They'll sit there and they'll drink the whole bottle cap. I'll refill the bottle cap. If they drink it, I'll refill it again. And once they stop the bottle cap, that by then I've cleaned the tub, I've cleaned the enclosure, sand sifted, whatever, I'll put them back in.
Have you ever injected the rodents with fluids?
Nah. I mean, I let me rephrase that. I have years and years ago on a snake that I knew was dehydrated, and I don't even know what it was, some kind of colubrid.
But they do drink like sporadically. Right?
Oh, sure. If I put a water bowl in there, they drink it all the time, but it would be too much humidity. And then they start to develop skin issues, or the sand gets mold in it. You know, people think, oh, sand, it's sand, nothing. No, sand molds really bad. And then the other problem too, is it also harbors bacteria really, really well.
You have it thick in there, right? Like
I don't have it as deep as I'd like. Who sent me that video? I think Kevin Barron sent me. You know what? It might have been Tyler Brooks. One of our buddies from podcasting went to a zoo, and they had a Cerastes on display, and it had like a solid 15 inches of sand, and it was excavating with its head, digging a burrow with its face. And like, I'd never seen that. I didn't know they did that. And like, I'd love to give my animals that, but there's no way that I could have that much sand, let alone that much weight in the enclosure.
Dude, my Highland scrub female built a nest with her head somehow. Did you see that one, Andy?
Yeah.
She completely closed herself off in her hollow log, and she must have pulled all the sphagnum and everything I had. The Bolins did the same thing, man. You couldn't get in there. It was packed. Like, they took everything and packed around all the entrances to the log, and it was like a fucking burrow, like thick, and it did it overnight. Like, I wish I had a fucking camera on that thing that when it did it. It was incredible.
That's super cool. And like some of the other sand, like I have a Pseudocerastes fieldi, and they have a water bowl the same way as the subox, just like an inch or two of water. And I always keep fresh water with them because they are more montane. They are in rock escarpments in the desert. So they are going to have way more options for humidity than like the Cerastes would. You know, I see Scott's in the chat. He's saying Cerastes are exposed to dew most mornings. And yeah, I totally know that they are, but in my room, it would cause too many problems to give them water as much as I would have liked to.
What are the rattlesnakes that are on the coast of California that just drink the dew?
Santa Catalinas?
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man, that they get the dew off of the ocean in the morning.
Yeah, because some of those barrier islands, there's no fresh water at all other than dew, rain, you know?
But that's cool because it's like that dew is coming off of like ocean water, and by it evaporating, they're getting fresh water dew off of salt water.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
But I wonder if that's something that maybe those little freaking yellow eyelash vipers are doing too, man, because I found them on the beach coming out in the morning, like, and it's like the same thing. There's like, when you have that morning dew off of the ocean, those things could be doing the same thing, like just getting dew off their coil.
Yeah, you've got species like Trimersurus purple maculatus, the short pit vipers, that's on the north shore of Sumatra and the south side of the Malay Peninsula, where they're living in mangrove estuaries that are pure saltwater. And there's salt encrusting everything, on all the plants, on all the branches, on the snakes themselves. And their only source of fresh water is the dew on the leaves. And it's amazing to watch them drink, much like our other arboreal snakes, even like chondros, for example. When you miss a chondro, it drinks off its own body. it's the same thing, but these things are just living in salt and only drinking that dew, It's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, think of those Rauschenbergeri in the river system. At best, that water is brackish all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you got to think that just when the sun is burning it off, like those things are, they're just curled up in a ball, man. Like you don't even know if that's like a termite mound or it's like a snake sitting in a tree.
I'm a firm believer that whole the chameleons absorb moisture through their skin while they're breathing and whatnot, and they're breathing in the water vapor, which is keeping them hydrated. Like when that study came out, it really made me think about and talk about keeping the humidity up higher than I probably want it. It really made me think about how many of these desert snakes, these truly desert snakes, are doing the same thing, even on a minute level. Just having moisture in the air that they can breathe in is probably keeping them more hydrated than not. So things like the Pseudocerastes, I keep the water bowl in there because I know they're going to spill it. I know they're going to throw sand in it, and the sand's going to get wet, but it's hot enough that it's not going to mold. It's not going to get funky and bacteria. And it is going to keep a slight amount of humidity in there. Probably, I mean, I would guess as much as if I just put a little bowl of sphagnum, and probably dry out the same time frame, at least in my brain. I don't know.
Have any of you guys noticed that? I mean, I have the green trees, but not all of my male green trees, but a lot of them, they go full bore aquatic into their water bowls at night, fully underwater, blowing bubbles, clearing out their nasal passages. I'm watching this Highland Biak male right now. He's like fully aquatic right now. He's just romping in his water bowl. I put big water basins in, like the size of the Starlight box. Like that's their water. And you can hear, I've had, in particular over the years, arus, the males, they go into the water and they blow bubbles underwater. And I feel like these things are clearing out their nasal passages or something, the way that because you hear them doing it. They're blowing bubbles out.
Now, since you have water bowls big enough for them to completely soak in, how often are they defecating the water?
I usually park their water bowls under where every snake sits, so they do shit in the water.
But are they shitting in the water from their perch and it just happens to fall in, or are they in the water and actively?
No, they'll drop their tails down and shit consistently. It's just easier. I would much rather have them take a dump in there, because when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is clean everything that's dirty. So like they're not, as soon as they take a dump anywhere in there, they're moving to the complete opposite side of the cage.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so if it's in the water, it's just so much more convenient to just take it away.
Yeah, I actually, this is probably not, I don't want to say PC, but I actually gave cobras small, like I've learned certain species of cobra, certain individual cobras, I give them a smaller water bowl that they can't fit their whole body into, because I would find them doing something similar, going in the water, blowing their snot out, whatever. They would sit in it and then they would defecate in it and then they would leave. And it's like every time I give them fresh water, they would just swim in it and poop in it. So I realized
I prefer it. I don't have to strip the whole enclosure down. Like what I'll normally do is if I know that the snakes, like I feed everybody the same day. So when it gets time to, like, I think everybody's on the way to defecate, I'll spray them down heavily, spray them hard. And then they're all going to drop the same day, more or less. And then if it's all in the water bowl, I just take it out and drop it, in the toilet, scrub it out clean, and pop it back in.
Yeah.
And I park it
is it's a bit easier when your snake stays on the perch, and mine's not going to do that.
Pull the fucker out. And
I mean, and then he knocks over all the decor,
Yeah. Arboreals are so much easier, man. Like, dude, don't forget though, I've got Timors, boas, white lips, scrubs. What else? I think that's it. But all those things suck because they literally, you have to pull them out.
Yeah.
You have to pull everybody out to do I mean, and I use like either bark chips or coconut or whatever, and you have to strip them out like all the way. Like you're not cleaning those enclosures with the snake in it.
Yeah,
that's the good thing about the green trees. You can fully work around them.
Yeah.
What do you what say you, Justin? You've got the basins as well.
Wait, you glitched. What's up?
Justin Olson.
He's laggy.
Are you flatlining,
Yeah,
bro?
What was your question?
I said, what say you? You've got the basins. So like cleaning them is pretty easy as well, right? The same as the green trees.
Easier. They're so simple. So simple. Maybe once every 3 meals they're gonna take a shit, and other than that, a little bit of spot cleaning here and there, changing water a couple times a week. They're so simple.
Every 3 meals? Because mine will shit it like after at least every meal or every 2 meals.
Mine seem to hold it, especially my female.
Do you spray them down like a week after? Like you might see a change.
Well, they get sprayed every 2-3 days. It's so dry up here. I have to keep everything somewhat, keep it and sprayed down a little bit.
The Arctic, bro.
Kinda, but yeah, they seem it's every 2 to 3 meals. Maybe the male he goes a little bit more frequently, but the female for sure she holds. But
and you're feeding the basins.
Andy, how about yours? What's that?
I pride myself on my snake's poop schedule.
Andy measures them in Keurigs.
Yeah.
The most triumphant Keurig.
I was saying, Olson, your basins, you feed them every other week?
Yeah, every 14 days or so. Sometimes I'll stretch it to 3 weeks if they've, if they haven't gone for a while. I'll stretch it out a little bit, but usually about every 14. I'm not super religious about it. They're so sedentary. They don't do much at all. Yeah. They're awesome to look at, but they're so boring.
No, dude, you take them out when it gets nicer out and stick them in a tree, bro. They'll do shit.
Yeah, I take them out every now and just stare at them, but they're cool.
This girl's cool, man. She romps around like, but she's a pig. Like she could eat a freaking extra large rat like it's nothing, man.
Wow.
Like it's crazy, but she'll, I give her smaller meals like every other time though, so she's not like just getting fat because she'll eat whatever you give her. But
I could see them put on, if you way overdid it with them, I think they could just put on the weight without, somehow
not a whole lot of effort.
Yeah, without much effort at all. They don't do much. I noticed my male now that he's getting a little bit more. He's almost 4. Let's see, he'll be 4 in August, and he's been cruising around a lot more, kind of checking things out. But that female, she's so lazy.
Where'd you get the male again? He's kind of cool. He looks like he is getting dark.
Both of them came from Hai. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Hai Najuyan. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
He does like blue tree monitors and stuff too.
Right on.
Yeah, I don't know.
How's that cigar, Justin? You seem to be fully enjoying.
This is a Romacraft Neanderthal.
Classic.
Yeah, I got a sweet deal on a bundle of them, so I've been smoking the hell out of them.
Nice.
Trying to savor them, but struggling.
Do you guys ever like partake in like a partial one and then let it go out and then try something different and then bounce back and forth, or do you always just go straight through a whole cigar?
No, I'll usually go straight through it. Sometimes, like if I'm out like running errands in town, like I'll leave one in my car or something, and it'll still be good. But if it's like out in the elements, like out in the open, if it sits for more than 20 minutes, it tastes terrible. So
I could see that.
Yeah, as soon as it starts sponging up that humidity and moisture and stuff, the flavors just
changes that quickly, huh?
Yeah. Especially here. I mean, down in South Carolina and Florida, in Phil's case, it does not take long.
Not at all.
Gotta smoke them quick, Andy, in the jungle.
Name of the game.
That's right.
Well, Justin, you brought like your own little personal portable humidor box thing to Daytona, from what I recall.
Oh yeah, that's like my little suitcase, travel case thing, and I pretty much only bring that with me when I'm going to Daytona.
It looked like a little pistol box.
Phil has one too. He has one similar.
Oh yeah, I got a couple of them.
I've got a handful of cases. I got another one for Christmas from a coworker that, little otter box basically. But
you got to get one for the jungle, Andy.
Yeah, you do.
I have since procured one.
Oh, you have?
A little Pelican, yeah.
Nice.
A little Pelican case will do the job.
Oh yeah, you just wanted to be You wanted to be sealed.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually, so I no longer use wooden humidors. I can't get them to stay seasoned right. Yeah, I can't get them to hold moisture, and it's crazy because I live in a fucking swamp.
Don't sit on cigars long enough to. I have like 3 of them, and I don't use them.
Yeah, and so now I have exclusively Pelican cases, and in each Pelican case, I cut a rectangle out of the top of the lid of the foam, and the company Bovida that makes the hydration packs, they make a little metal grill that you slide the pack in, and it has a magnet, and I just magnet into there. And I make sure that, because I have several of them, I make sure I open and burp them at least once a month. Otherwise they'll just get so much humidity. I've actually had cigars swell. So, but yeah, I use Pelicans exclusively now for humidors.
So
yeah, I heard nothing but good things from you guys. So
yeah,
pistols on the bottom, cigars on the top.
No, you gotta have 2 different. You can't have humidity with the guns.
You gotta just grease them with Croil. Just absorb some Croil.
Yeah. Dude, Croil is the best, man, and it is so hard to find nowadays. But that is
I found
God's oil.
I think Midway has like little quart can or
little tins. Yeah, little tins. Looks like kerosene. Yeah.
Dude, they're expensive as fuck.
Yeah, but if you're gonna long-term storage anything made of metal, man, that shit.
Croil, dude.
As soon as it dries out, that shit turns to Cosmo, and it's long-lasting. Love Croil.
It's micron. It'll absorb into the micron of metal.
Yeah. Wow. See that orange tin, and you're in business.
Croil. It's the shit.
The shit. See, that's how you know James is old school with that, man. Young guys don't know about that Croil.
Can't find it.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we're at the over 2 hour mark. Is there anything we want to touch base on before we wrap things up?
What say you, Andy?
A whole lot. I think we covered the trip pretty well. Bounced around a bit, but we got there.
Yeah.
You guys coming next year?
It was epic. Yeah. You guys coming?
Yeah.
Let's figure something out.
I wanted to get in on this one. It's just Olson sort of let me know short notice.
Now you have a year's notice, Justin.
Now I have a year's notice, so I feel prepared, because I was like really bummed I couldn't go, but then he started sending me pictures, and I was like, fuck.
The cool thing is that it's going to be like the Hitoy Sorare part will be like a citizen scientist thing. Like it's going to be, we'll publish it. So it'll be out there, like our findings and everything. It'll be pretty fucking cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome.
You go on our trips, you have just the right amount of debauchery with the perfect amount of scientific
professionalism and science.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the way to do it, man. It's
all science and professionalism until you get into the San Jose.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
I've been wanting to go to Costa Rica for a long time, and
dude, Justin was there in Osa for like 4 hours, and he's like, I have to figure out how to buy property here. Like,
yeah.
And I'm serious, like, dude, like that's where I want.
In the works.
I'm gonna end up there for sure.
From what I understand,
I want to live in Osa.
Property used to be really cheap there because not a lot of people were moving there, and now that it's become like people kind of know about it, it sounds like property prices have gone up.
Dude, this
it's
fucker, they're $80,000 for a piece of beachfront in Osa. That's
you
not
can't
that
tell
bad.
him that. That's my spot.
Yeah, that's his spot. Unless we all chip in, then we can. But one of us has to get that because there can't be a hotel going there. Fuck that.
Well, once I get it, we got a spot to go. So.
Yeah, you just gotta the same way that guys make like the hunting lodge where it's just like a container house.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that. Keep it natural as fuck.
I'm not even gonna do the container. I'm just gonna bring my portable sawmill down there with everything I need in a container and build my shit. Just
there you go.
Right there. But
excellent.
It's there's other pieces of property like next to the river where I found the crayfish and stuff, and like I would be super happy right there.
Yeah, well, it'd be awesome.
Go ahead.
It'd be awesome to have a spot down there.
I need to be there. Like at some point, I just want to be there. I can't imagine fucking growing fucking old and having to shovel fucking snow.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all do that now.
It's just a burden, dude. Like it used to be fun. Like I used to be able to go skiing and like have time for that shit. Now it just like gets in the way of like progress.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
It's not the snow, it's the cold.
I wouldn't know. I'm in basketball shorts and flip flops as we speak.
I have to like get the snow off the lumber and all this shit. It's like you have all this extra equipment. Like you don't need that shit in the tropics. You just I just want to build like a little eco lodge and bring people down and catch snakes and fucking eat good food and go fish.
That's it. What more could you ask for?
And you can bring your guns down there, Phil.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can bring them down. They be yours. There's like a tax or something for bringing your own, but whatever.
Yeah. Rock and roll.
Yeah. You can be fully strapped in Costa Rica. Woo!
Epic.
This episode was brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram. Use the code THN25.
Blackbox Bundaroo?
Yeah. And cold-blooded caffeine. Best coffee around. Use that code SMOKE. Get the Snakes and Stogies blend. I didn't show it earlier because I was fighting the technological demons. Rwanda and Mexico together in a bag.
I just got my Fulvius Apparel coffee mug, so I cannot wait to enjoy some delicious cold-blooded caffeine in my mug.
Yeah, Phil placed an order, and I'm like, I can't just send this fool what he ordered. I gotta load it up. And I meant to throw in some of those Neanderthals, and I forgot after I'd sealed the box up.
That's all right. I appreciate it regardless.
But yes, fulviusapparel.com. Use code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. He's got the hat. He's got the shirt.
Repping the brand.
That's right. We are going to be back Thursday for Arachnerds episode 9.
Excellent.
With the one and only Tom Patterson, who's kind of one of the guys in tarantulas and arachnids in the hobby. So it's a little intimidating if I'm being honest, but
you got this.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. I think Flippin' Tin is also happening this week, but I have to get with Jake. I know they've got a couple bigger names sort of lined up. So we'll get that sorted out as soon as I can, and have a good evening.
Bye.
Anyways, I wish we had Tin up here